All right, I'm back with my brother Matt for another episode of the Rehashables, episode 4, pal. Here we are.
It's crazy. Already 4 in, and I feel like kind of hitting our stride now because I love doing this because it literally like forces me to watch new stuff because I have to watch something new to talk about, and it's like it's kind of getting into a good rhythm now, month to month.
Yeah, same here. So I end up having 3, 4, 5 things to watch, and we get a chance to talk about it, and it's a freaking blast.
Yeah, it's like one show pretty much is what you can do, and then the rest are mostly like movies or documentaries or something like that.
Yeah, you have to be really feeling to watch 2 shows, right? I mean, 2 shows, 8 to 10 episodes per show. That's like watching 20 movies, basically, or like 15 movies, something like that. So that's definitely a lot. So it's usually one show and a bunch of movies.
Out of the 4 that we've done so far, this is the one where I'm like, these are, like I say, 4 things I've watched this month. 3 of the 4, I'm like, that this was like awesome, like great things that I feel like I really, really enjoyed watching. So I'm excited to talk to you about it.
I know the thing that we're probably going to spend the most time on and talk from the top. That's the thing I'm actually most excited to talk about since we've even been doing this podcast. Beyond that, it's kind of a little bit of a different month for me. It's been incredibly insane, just with travel and different stuff. I do have 4 things to discuss. They are not mind-blowing. Some of them are kind of funny, but I'm ready definitely to talk about this first thing. So why don't you start? What are we rehashing first?
The first thing we're probably going to be rehashing is Gen V. So Gen V is on Amazon Prime show. It's a spin-off show of one of my and your favorite shows, The Boys, which has run 3 seasons so far. And it's a spin-off. It's a spin-off show. Didn't have any of the main characters of The Boys in it. People were kind of skeptical on how it would be. And I'm telling you, 10 minutes in, you watch this show, it grabs you, and you are like, if you like The Boys, you're all in on this show, which I know I was for sure.
So I watched the trailer when it first came out, and I thought the trailer looked good. But you never know with spin-off shows if they're going to be the same level of quality, the same feel. Like something that comes to mind is the show called The Continental, which is a spin-off of the John Wick universe. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. And I didn't watch it, but when I watched that trailer, I was kind of excited. I like John Wick movies. We've talked about one of them on the podcast and then even others on previous podcasts. So I'm like, oh, I'm really looking forward to this Continental show. But then I read the reviews, and it was just like basically a garbage show. Doesn't live up to the standard of the movies. So you never know if that's what you're getting when it comes to something like Gen V. But I have to tell you, after finishing it, I feel like it was on par, quality level, writing, the feel, the budget, the effects. You could watch 5 minutes of Gen V and know that it was set in the Boys universe without seeing anything else.
There's no show like it because The Boys, I think it was in the top like 5 seasons of TV ever or whatever. The Boys season 3 made my list. The Boys is literally probably my favorite show on TV. I love The Boys, but I'm always so hesitant to recommend it to people because there is some weird. It does an incredible job of walking this fine line of like it's funny and like crazy outlandish, but also like the stories it's telling. And the commentary it's saying on society is so perfect. And it just walks this line so wonderfully.
That's very well said, because it does comment on a lot of different things and does in a real well-done way. But there are some weird things in it, like you said. So, here I am, I'll post on Instagram a story that I gave this an A- or something like that. Yeah. And then someone that I know professionally will like that story. And I'll be like, okay, that person's a freaking weirdo too. You almost like judge them a certain way if they've seen The Boys. Okay, they're into like weird stuff and they've seen all this like weird sex stuff and these dick things. Like you said, I wouldn't recommend The Boys or Gen V to mom. I wouldn't recommend it to my boss. So it's like a certain type of person. But once you've seen it and if you like it, it's a freaking awesome show.
It's incredible. The quality of it is incredible. Like I said, the social commentary on it is like, it's nuts. Like the things that they talk about just like overreactions and these superheroes. And can we get a little spoiler? So, the stuff is, so Gen V, again, spin-off of The Boys and these superheroes. And when you start with season 1 of The Boys, you don't know how these superheroes are superheroes, okay? You think they're just born this way, and that's how they are. And the superheroes think they're born this way. And
when you say superheroes, just so you know, it's like just people that have powers. And they all have, it's like a variety of different powers. Some people fly, some people are super strong. They're all kind of based off of superheroes you've seen in X-Men type stuff or Superman type stuff. So anyways, that's what you mean by superheroes. So,
exactly. And I shouldn't say superheroes because probably 80% of them aren't like good people. You know what I mean? Like it's like if these people had these powers, how would they possibly abuse it and
Mhm.
stuff? But the big spin thing is that you find out is that when these people were very, very young, when they were babies, their parents signed them up for this program in order to inject them with something in order for them to get powers. And I thought one of the things this show did great because it takes place on a college campus is it really like dives into like those parents, like what kind of parent must you be to like inject your baby with this stuff to give them superpowers? And I thought this show did a really good job of just kind of unraveling what that parent child relationship is like.
Yeah, it was some good points. The main character is Marie, and she's awesome. I actually thought she was a great main
Yeah.
character. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
you would agree, but
Oh yeah.
one of the things that she struggled with is that she killed her parents when she found out about her powers that are more blood related.
Accidentally. Yeah.
We accidentally in front of her
Yes.
sister, and obviously it's shaped the person that she is throughout her life. And obviously on the show, it's a big part of things. But then there's another character on the show called Kate, and she has a different set of powers. But she says a comment about like don't feel bad for your parents for 1 second
Yep.
because they injected you with this stuff. And not that I 100% agree with it. It was just like a different spin on things. It's like obviously you feel bad if you kill your parents, and that's that's something you would have to live with. But like they did do this to you. Like they, it's not like it makes it okay, but it is this weird thing where there is like kind of two sides to it a little bit, and it was interesting perspective.
So yeah, I completely agree. A couple other things. I don't know if you noticed. You know, Golden Boy was Patrick Schwarzenegger. It's Arnold's kid or whatever.
What? I
So
did
yeah,
not know that.
Golden Boy is Patrick Schwarzenegger. So
So
he's
is
in
Patrick Schwarzenegger a side action kid or like one of his kids with Maria Shriver?
no one of his kids with Maria Shriver.
It's not like the
His side
main
action kid.
son that.
No,
Yeah.
if you watch the Arnold documentary, which is great, they actually talk about that kid, and he's doing really well.
I would not have thought he was Arnold Schwarzenegger's son.
No,
I mean,
he's awesome. Yeah, so
he's
so
charismatic.
good for him for getting in this role. We're big Arnold guys. Thought he was great. I thought one of my favorite characters of the show though was that one episode with Tech Knight, who was like an enhanced Sherlock Holmes kind of like
Yeah,
superpowers. I used to think
yeah,
Tech Knight, incredible name. And his powers, like some of these people's powers are just borderline hilarious. And his powers was he can tell he's like a detective, but he can tell like when
yeah.
you're lying, can tell your heart rate, can tell when you're sweating, and all this kind of stuff. I thought he was a great character. Top two other things. The puppet, there's just one puppet scene, and sometimes the boys have done this in the past, where they take this ultra violent kind of thing that happens, and they did it with like puppets because the main character was
Oh, when Sam was
yeah,
in that tunnel. Yeah,
Sam was in the tunnel, and no show can get away with that. Like all of a sudden, because he's kind of has mental problems happening, he starts seeing these people as puppets, and I just thought that was just such a cool way to kind of tell this story, and it totally fit in with the voice. So,
they showed part of it in the trailer, and then
mm-hmm.
it's just like, what? How is that even going to work out into the show? And yeah, it was great, really well done. Like shot well. It's not weird when you're seeing it. You're like, okay, this makes sense.
It makes total sense. It makes total sense. Which again, I can't think of another show that does that. And lastly, I think one of the funniest characters from The Boys that bleeds over into Gen V, and we'll talk about how the connection is and stuff like that, is the Deep. I just think the Deep is the funniest. People make fun of him. He's so funny and awkward and great. And there's just that one scene where it's showing all of the superheroes that have gone to this school and done amazing. They show Maeve ranked number 1 in crime fighting. Showed A Train ranked number 1 in crime fighting. Showed the Deep ranked 6th or whatever. It's like this like little digs that they would
Yeah.
have for the Deep. It was so freaking funny. But you want to talk at all about the connection? Because this is why I thought the show was so good. Because spinoffs don't necessarily do it as well, but the connection that this show had to the boys was just incredible. I don't know if you wanted to talk about that at all.
Yeah, I'm interested what you think the main connection is. Like for me, just to kind of get back to the school, this is a school where these kids that are like budding superheroes are going to, and they're trying to, like you said, rank the kids and which one of them is going to go to the 7. The 7 is like this superhero team.
Yeah.
It's kind of like this school is a feeder system into the 7, right? At the same time, the school, it's not what it seems.
Yep.
Right? Like people think of it as a school and they're going to learn how to use their superpowers and kind of go from there and fight crime and all that stuff. But really, Vought, who put this compound V together. That's the stuff that gets injected to the kids, kind of set the school up as a way to study the kids. There's a certain amount of kids that are underneath the school being observed. So there's like this darker side to the overall school. So the way it bleeds into the boys is just that connection of getting to the seven and the connection with Vought and how they're involved. There are some characters that come into Gen V. The first one, outside of like that mention of some of the, like A-Train is in that first episode. There was mention of Maeve and the Deep, but like I think when it really became a strong connection was when Newman came over, Victoria Newman was in that episode. That was like a very, very strong connection. Yes. What did you think of that episode?
I thought that was great. I thought her whole thing and how they casted an actress that looks exactly like AOC. I just think that's so funny because that's exactly who she is. But you got to find out her dark side and stuff in the show was. This show takes place, I think, a few days after season 3 of The Boys. So, like, it literally picks up right where The Boys left off. And then I read that The Boys season 4 is picking up right after where Gen V takes off. So you have these like little things like happening, and they mention the seven, and they mention Vought. My big thing, and this is the biggest spoiler, was the ending when our boy Homelander, who is the main bad guy in The Boys, shows up in Gen V. And that's when I thought they were like, this show's a home run if they're going to have Homelander come involved.
So I knew Homelander was going to come at some point. I guess I didn't know that, but I just felt like he had to come at some point. Once you saw like Victoria Newman, and once they had other like small cameos, it's like they had to have Homelander come. And honestly, the way that finale was kind of breaking, it almost seemed like Homelander was the only way it was going to resolve itself. Yes. Homelander is Superman, but the most psychopathic guy being Superman that you could possibly imagine. Anytime you see him on The Boys, you have no idea what's going to happen. Anything's on the table. He's a freaking complete lunatic. So, finale of Gen V, you're probably not listening to this if you haven't even seen this at this point, but like, finale of Gen V, all shit's hitting the fan at this school. These superhero people are killing other people. Anyways, it's going out of control. And then Homelander comes and basically kind of stops it. And honestly, the way that it happened was a little bit surprising. Like, it was basically resolved by the time Homelander came. And then the next thing you saw, there was a set of people that were the bad people and a set of people that were trying to fight the bad people. Yeah. And once Homelander came, kind of cut to white, I think. And then when it came back, the people that you perceived are good are the people that are locked away. Yeah. And the news is portraying the bad people as the good people. And it just kind of leaves on this cliffhanger of what's going to happen next. And I'm honestly all in. It's been renewed for season 2, and I can't wait to see what happens.
Me too. It's my favorite show. I loved it. Good for them for hitting a home run. Good for Amazon Prime. Again, if you're still listening to this at this point, I could not recommend it enough. It's
no one is listening to this right now. Guaranteed.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do want to say one other thing about Victoria Newman. Yep. I loved the reveal that her power is the same thing as Marie's power. Because, quick thing on Victoria Newman, no one knows that she has any powers.
Yes.
She's a vice presidential candidate. She's very much about keeping the superheroes' powers in check and all that sort of stuff. And she has this ability that you find out through watching the show that she makes people's heads explode. But you never know that it's her doing it in the moment until the reveal happens. And then she does it, I think, one other time after you realize that it's her. But the whole time that they show Marie, you don't realize what her powers are capable of. And then they have this interaction in I think it was episode 6. And Newman's talking to Maria, and she basically reveals that they have the exact same powers and that she's never seen anyone else that has it. So it's like knowing what Marie's capable of now is just like, I look at her a little bit differently because Victoria Newman's like very powerful with what her powers are. I feel like there's all the powers kind of keep each other in check. Like there's some are stronger than others. It's like this like weird thing where some are better than others in certain situations, but like she seems like she has one of the stronger powers. So I'm interested to see how she evolves. And I hope that at some point Marie can get brought into The Boys. Yeah, I'm interested to see which of any of these characters get brought into The Boys. Because I'm sure there will be.
Well, the evolution of Marie's character, like you said, the beginning of the season with the blood, you're kind of like, that's a cool superpower, but not like incredible. And that kind of evolved as the season went, where it's like, oh, if people are bleeding out, she can put the blood like back in their body. And then she had that experience with your boy Rufus, which learned you can do a few more things with her power. And then the stuff with Newman. Yeah, and she's a very, very powerful character.
Yeah, and just an interesting character. So, dude, Gen V, freaking home run of a show, man. I'm so glad we watched it. It took me, I didn't start it for like 3 or 4 weeks, or maybe even longer, 5 or 6 weeks. I think I actually watched it in the past couple of weeks when maybe episode 5 or 6 had just aired and caught up when the finale hit last week. And honestly, dude, I'm glad I did. It was a freaking awesome show. Loved it.
It ends so strong, and I'm now just clamoring back for the boys and getting ready for that for next season.
2024, right? That's coming up.
2024. Yep. And then I think Gen V will be 20. I think they're almost like gonna be alternating.
Be great, dude.
Forward. Yeah.
There's more opportunities for spin-offs with this universe. I don't know if Amazon does it or not, and there's always that fear of things turning into Star Wars and diluting it if you have too many spin-offs. But I feel like this is a universe that is ripe for more content. Yeah, I don't know that they do another spin-off, but it's very, very interesting universe. So highly recommend it.
Absolutely. Love it. So that's Gen V.
Gen V, Amazon Prime. What do you get next? You want to go next?
Yeah, I'll go next. I think you're going to love this one. I watched it last night. I was blown away, and it was Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Dude, that was next on my list. I don't know that we'll keep it going on the next ones, but so you liked it?
Loved it. I was smiling the entire time while watching it. I'm so happy I didn't realize you watched it this month, so I'm so excited that you did.
Newsflash for anyone that's actually listening to this. I always post my grades for anything I watch on my Instagram stories, and that is kind of my way of remembering when I watch. So when I kind of do this, but like anything that goes on my stories throughout the month is probably something that I'm going to talk about on the Rashfuls. So yes, I watched it too, and I don't know what it is, man. I like Mission Impossible. I didn't like the very first Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
And some people kind of shit on the second Mission Impossible. I think this might be the 7th one. I've liked them all since then. Every time that one comes out, I feel like I want to watch it.
So I don't think I've watched one since the third one with Philip Seymour Hoffman, but you keep hearing like people are like how great it is and how awesome it is. And Fallout was I never saw it, but Fallout was supposedly amazing too. Mm-hmm. I just love this whole thing. Again, from beginning to end, I thought it was just great. So what were your thoughts? What did you give it for a grade? I forget.
I probably gave it a B or B plus. I don't think it was as good as Fallout, because I remember seeing Fallout and being like, wow, that was freaking incredible. And this one was really good. Yeah. I didn't love the bad guy in this one, which was basically this AI scenario.
What's the entity?
The entity.
Yep.
Because I like the one with Philip Seymour Hoffman, right? Yep. I thought he was a great bad guy, and I think people as bad guys are probably better than just like this idea of this artificial intelligence. So probably didn't connect with it on that level. But I don't know if that's what I'm going to see these movies for anyways. I'm going to see them for the action, which I think this one always delivers on. Tom Cruise always pushes the envelope on action scenes.
Are we going to talk about that? The scene, like it is the one that they were posting it before. It was a promotional for the movie. I remember seeing behind the scenes clips of it before. But that damn motorcycle scene, the one. So if you haven't seen it, just YouTube Tom Cruise motorcycle Mission Impossible. This guy's on a cliff, and the way it is shot, I got goosebumps watching it because I'm like, here it is, it's coming. Like this is like the thing that we've been like seeing, and I'm watching on my little TV, and I was like, he takes off from 50 feet back on this cliff on this little motorcycle, flies off the cliff, wearing the parachute, throws his motorcycle down, goes sky free falls, and then like lifts the parachute up. That is really Tom Cruise doing that. And the way it was filmed with the drone and it came around and the mute, I was like, this is literally one of the coolest action things I've ever seen in my life. Sign me up for Scientology right now. I am all in on this. Take me there. No.
So you converted too. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I don't know what it is about Tom Cruise, man. I don't love him, but I am intrigued by him.
Very much so. Between Maverick and this, like, guy is just, I don't know what it is about. You know what I mean? It's like, he's a movie star. He's a movie star. You know, it's just awesome to see.
If you said, name a movie star, if you're playing Family Feud or something like that, like name a male movie star, like he's the epitome of a movie star, I think, to me.
I would say him and Leo are like, she's rising movie stars.
Leo, Brad Pitt, but Tom Cruise does more movies that are probably things that I would like. The action stuff, Ethan Hunt stuff is all very interesting. You know, it's pretty good too, like the train stuff. I think I like train scenes in movies. I think that they're just, you can always do some like cool stuff on trains. Good shots.
When the train that was happening, but going back to Tom Cruise stuff too, because you remember the production of this movie. I don't know if you remember this or not, but major COVID problems. They were filming during COVID, and there was that. Remember the Tom Cruise rant leak? So that was like came up on the set of this movie, and he was him yelling at his production staff because they weren't wearing masks, and he was like swearing. He's like, literally, the whole movie industry is like depending on us right now to do a good job with this. Don't F this up for us. And I was like, almost like, this is like warranted. This guy cares so much about making good movies and what he does. I gotta respect it. You know, I thought it was a phenomenal movie.
Didn't you refuse to let this movie go to direct on demand or whatever? And like he demanded a theatrical release of this movie.
When a lot of production companies were going to even on demand and in the theater, he said, no, this is going only in the theater. And it's almost like and I just read today, actually, unfortunately, that part 2, which is, I guess they changed the title or whatever, but it got delayed another year because of the writer's strike. So it's not going to
they're not doing Dead Reckoning Part 2?
No, they changed the name. I know, it's very weird.
It's so dumb when they do that stuff anyways.
Yeah.
Like, no one just...
Yeah. But
at this point, we're in this Mission Impossible universe.
Yeah.
We're obviously continuing stories. There's no need for it to be Dead Reckoning Part 1, Dead Reckoning Part 2. Have it be Dead Reckoning and then whatever. And then obviously it's continuing the story. There's stories and threads continued from previous Mission Impossibles. You know, like, it's... I always think that sounds dumb. Just anything that had like Part 1 and Part 2 in the freaking title, I don't love it. So...
Yeah, so and they just got delayed now, so that's not coming out till 2025. That's one movie now that I will absolutely want to see in the theater. So a couple of things about this movie, though. The women just might do a movie or TV show a month with Rebecca Ferguson, just because she's kind of taken over. She's like kind of becoming our like rehashables constant.
She's the thread that connects all of our rehashable cast. Big Rebecca Ferguson guy, say it every month. She's awesome, dude. She's great. But honestly, I think Haley Atwell is even...
She stole it.
Better.
Yeah.
And I didn't even connect the dots on the fact that she was in the Marvel universe when I was watching. I don't know why. Just because Peggy Carter looked different.
You hate Captain America. You're like anti-Captain America.
Or like the Russian equivalent guy, the guy that's in Stranger Things or whatever that guy's name is. I never liked Captain America movies. I don't know why. I guess Peggy Carter is an extension of those movies, but she always was different. She always looked different. I guess she was younger. But when I saw her in this movie, I was like, she looks familiar. And then I found out what she was, and obviously that was what it was. But I thought she was great too. So yeah, some good female performances for sure. And the bad girl was great too. Yeah.
Which one?
The one with the swords? Asian one?
Well, Palm Clementif. You know who that is?
No.
That's Mantis from Guardians.
That is mind-blowing.
She crushed it. In this movie. Yeah. She was awesome.
It's so hard to see because like Mantis's eyes are so
they're like big.
Unique in the Marvel stuff that I didn't even freaking realize it.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah, she was in it. I thought it was great. And the last thing I just wanted to say about this was, I don't know if you saw the report that came out a couple of weeks ago, was like after President Biden watched Mission Impossible, it was like a more of a headline type thing, but he changed its like big policy now came down for like AI stuff. And there was more to it than obviously that. But like,
nope, that's all there is to it. It's just that movie.
It's just that movie. It's like, I gotta do something about this. But it was like the shit that was like, that was the stuff that AI is going to control us. Like that, it's not going to be like the Skynet type stuff, I don't think. It's like the all online, responding to people. You think you're talking to someone, but you're really talking to a robot. When Ethan Hunt was running through the streets of Venice and he was getting Simon Pegg's voice, but it was the AI, that was like, this is what would happen. This is awesome.
There's nothing you can do about it.
Nothing you can do about it.
In the moment, it seemed like there was nothing you could do about it. Like this thing is just in 100% control of the situation.
You got to go all analog, as Vin Rames was doing in that movie at the end. So.
Exactly. So there's something about Mission Impossible movies that I love, and it cracks me up every time. And it's the masks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like I can't get enough of the idea that these people could throw masks on and look like other people.
So when Haley Atwell threw on the mask and became the White Widow, I'm like, is she the same height? Same body type? Like they have the little thing that goes on the voice that changes their voice. Of course they have a thing for the voice, but yeah, like eyes look different. Like it's freaking ridiculous, but like it's awesome that they throw these great masks on that 100% conceal their identity, and it's just a funny little
unrealistic thing of the movies that is really specific only to Mission Impossible movies. I don't know anyone else. I mean, maybe my last movie on the list today will kind of get to some of this stuff if that's a little bit of a hint, but nothing else like that in any other movie.
It's so true. Me, it's the dialogue. I thought it was so freaking fun in the beginning. The part where they're talking to the director of, I don't know if it's Central Intelligence or whatever, and there's like 4 of his cabinet like people like in there, and they're all talking in one sentence. Like they each just say one sentence, and the next person like picks up one sentence, and then the next person picks up. Like it's unbelievable how the dialogue happens. And I was laughing like while watching. Like nobody talks like this, but god damn it, it's effective. I think it's brilliant and it's so funny because it's just great. They can get away with that stuff, you know.
I'm so glad you watched that one. I did not expect you to. So
it was great. So I love it when we watch the same stuff. So we did not plan that. So that's great.
Did not. Honestly, don't plan really any of it except for the Gen V. We knew we were doing it, pal. All right, I'm just gonna keep it going for you, pal. What do you have next on your?
This is the David Beckham documentary.
Really?
Called Beckham. It was freaking incredible. I absolutely loved it. It's 4 episodes.
I was going to ask. Okay, so it's 4 episodes.
4 like hour-long episodes. I knew nothing about David Beckham before, other than he's married to Posh Spice, and he's obviously a ridiculously good-looking man. How him and I are the same species, I have no idea. I was just looking at this guy, and I'm like, you're unbelievable, dude. You're literally. I thought he was a good soccer player. Didn't know, like he was like an unbelievable soccer player. Like he was like an incredible soccer player. I always thought he was more known for his like good looks and again being married to a Spice Girl. But his arc of playing soccer, which again I know nothing about, and nothing about European soccer and the Premier League and the World Cup and all that kind of stuff. I was just on the edge of my seat the entire time because of the huge matches that he played in and the outcomes of it. It was a brilliant documentary. Brilliant.
Wow. So I know nothing about David Beckham. I actually wondered if he was as good as maybe I remember him to be. Everyone remembers the phrase "bend it like Beckham," and yeah, I thought he was good. But like, is he like Messi good? Is he Cristiano Ronaldo good? Is he like as good as some of these guys that are like the best in the world, or is he just was really good at the time, but he was never quite that level? I don't know if you got an answer to that watching that documentary.
I don't think he's those guys, but it was like he was those guys in England. If that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like those guys you think of in like the world stage. You know what I mean? Like how they are in like the World Cup tournaments. But he was like that good, but in like England. But I think you would definitely a you and Tara show. And Tara would love it as well. It was just such a weird time because it was early 2000s, late 90s. So you were graduating high school and in college during those times.
I remember when he came to the MLS, dude. That was a big story. Like I would watch a little bit of soccer when he was on TV.
They had a huge, the last chapter is kind of the end of his career about that. He played with Landon Donovan. I don't know if you know what Landon Donovan is. He's like the only American soccer player who I know. Just an incredible story. And he's so likable. A couple things. The soundtrack for this is just fantastic. It reminded me of The Last Dance, where I feel like all the songs were just so perfect and really enhanced it. That, and I thought Posh Spice, Victoria Beckham, like secretly won the movie. She was hilarious. They came across as very down-to-earth people. It was really, really, really well done. And then last fun fact, it was directed by Fisher Stevens. I mean, into you? You know Fisher Stevens?
He is the guy in freaking Succession, right?
Yes, you know.
Succession. Yes, I did know that. He directed that?
He directed. I guess he's an Academy Award-winning documentary director. He directed a movie in 2010 called The Cove. It's a big dolphin movie that came out back then. He directed
Hey, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Did you think I was going to get that right?
No. I thought there was a 5% chance you were going to get that right.
You dominated that, by the way.
Oh, you should be very impressed because I'm impressed that you just got that you Victor Stevens was that. That guy, he dated Michelle Pfeiffer for like 4 years in the 90s. Michelle Pfeiffer
might be his greatest accomplishment. I wonder what he looks like back then.
Not much different. So look at pictures. But he kind of inserts himself in this documentary. But I'm shouting from the rooftops here. I really loved this documentary. I think you would like it. And I hope you give it a chance because I thought it was just so well done. and I'm a huge David Beckham fan now because of it.
Love it. Get you a Beckham jersey for Christmas. I saw a trailer for Netflix sports documentaries. Where the hell did I see this? But they showed, the Drive to Survive. They showed the Full Swing stuff. They showed a few other like quarterbacks was in this, but then also the Beckham documentary that you're talking about. And when I was watching, I was like, man, they have some good sports documentaries.
They
Netflix
do.
really hits it out of the park with their documentaries. So
I feel
for
like
that reason alone.
they took the belt from like ESPN because 30 for 30s I haven't seen a 30 for 30 in a while, and now they're doing this Untold and all the sports stuff. It's really awesome, and I think you would like it. So I would definitely recommend watching this.
Love it, dude. Definitely moved a little bit higher on my list.
Please, yeah, give it a chance, everybody. It's awesome documentary. It's so good.
Okay, love it. All right, you ready for number 3 for me?
Yep.
Weird month for me, so this is kind of funny. T-Swift Eras Tour movie.
I was praying this was going to be on your list. I was praying this was going to be on there. So go.
I probably would not have had it on there if I had watched more stuff, obviously, but since I did go see it, and it is a movie technically, I'm throwing it on the list, dude. I went to go see it first weekend. It's freaking crazy.
Tell me, what was your experience like in the theater? What was it like in the theater? What was everything like?
Dude, it was great, man. I mean, first of all, the girls loved it, so that was it was all worth it, right? Aubrey was singing every song. There was mostly a full theater. What?
So was it that kind of vibe? It was like a sing, like people were like enjoying themselves, right? It's not like a typical movie.
It's not like any other movie you've ever been to, or at least that I can remember going to. The girls dressed up in like Taylor Swift stuff. They had their bracelets on. It felt like some version of going to see a Taylor Swift concert. And I took pictures outside and all that fun stuff. But we got our seats, and it was mostly full. I bet you it was 75% full probably for I think it was a 6:30 showing on the Sunday of the opening weekend. And yeah, the vibe was of people having a good time. There's kids dancing on the sides, dancing the aisles, singing songs. It was 2 hours and 45 minutes. I enjoyed it. I mean, I know all these songs at this point, and so I recognize most of the songs. And it was, as I'm watching, I'm like, this is crazy that we're even watching this. And I'm surprised that more bands don't do it. Taylor Swift is like a unicorn scenario right now. So not everyone could get like a sold out theater. I told you at the time, I think on one of these podcasts, that I had bought tickets for this movie like a month and a half in advance, and how I never bought a ticket for any movie more than like a week in advance. Maybe, if anything, it was maybe some Star Wars movie like 10 years ago. But like in general, I don't buy movie tickets a month in advance. So I don't know that any other band or act could pull this off, but it did make me think that, like, why do we have to see movies in movie theaters? Like, a concert movie is a perfect thing to see in a movie theater, or a sporting event, or just even a documentary. I don't know. Just it was a different type of experience, but had a lot of fun doing it with the girls. It was definitely something that I won't forget, and I'm glad we got a chance to see it there. Only thing I'm pissed off about is I didn't see it in IMAX. I think I told you that.
Yeah.
I think I bought the ticket so far in advance that IMAX was not for sale at the time, and I honestly didn't think it was anything other than IMAX. So I think when I bought the tickets, I thought that I was buying the IMAX seats until a few days before, and I realized that I just bought in a regular movie theater. So I was kind of bummed about that. I bet you it was probably awesome in IMAX.
I'm a huge T-Swift fan. Heather is a huge T-Swift fan, so much so she's actually in Argentina right now. Going to be seeing Taylor Swift in concert down there on Thursday.
Which is the day that this podcast posts. So if you're listening to this podcast on the day it comes out, Heather is at T-Swift right now.
She's at T-Swift watching her, which is insane. But I'm going to put you on the spot. What are your top 3 Taylor Swift songs?
I like... It's going to sound ridiculous when I actually put this up. I've always liked Are You Ready For It? I think that... let me just say, I have no, like... critical taste for any of these things. I don't like what makes a good song a good song.
What gets you going? Let's slow down.
Let me get back to you on that. There's a reason why I say this, but Are You Ready For It? Love that, because the documentary on Netflix, which I've watched 27,000 times, starts out with that song, and I think it's a great start to that documentary. Love Bejeweled. Very strange pick. Love Bejeweled. Listen to that one all the time with the girls. Then it's probably like Getaway Car, King of My Heart, something on, I think I like that Reputation album. How about you?
Me? Okay. I like old, so I was always in Taylor Swift since back in college. So I'm going 3. Number 3 would be You Belong to Me. I freaking love that song. Absolute fire song. Amazing. Number 2 for me is Blank Space. was great. So I have a lot of good memories with that song, weirdly enough. And the number one song for me, I don't care, I think it's the friggin' one of the songs ever written. You're gonna laugh. But the All Too Well 10-minute version
10-minute version. I knew you
is a
said it's a good
freaking
song.
it's a freaking unbelievable song. 10-minute version, All Too Well. Inject that into my veins. I love that song.
I feel like I'm talking to El Prez right now, I should say. This is like an El Prez emergency press conference, top 3 Taylor Swift songs. But hey, dude, I believe it. She has probably like 30 songs that I don't hate listening to. So it's actually pretty remarkable that, I mean, even still, dude, anytime I bring the kids to school, it's like, put on Taylor Swift, and it's like, okay, we picking the Red Album, we're picking Midnights, or it's freaking incredible. So that was a night to remember. Glad we got a chance to see it. I'm sure some streaming company will pick this up, Apple, Netflix, and then this freaking content will be on at our house 24/7 for the next 2 years till the next time.
Congrats to her. I just saw she joined the Billionaires Club or whatever. She's a billionaire. So
it's freaking incredible. Awesome. Good for her.
Unbelievable.
So anyway, that was the third thing that I saw this month.
And awesome. Great. Love it. I love it. I was hoping it was going to be on your list. I'm glad it is. So number 4 for me, I thought it was really good. This is my old movie. My old movie of the month. I had to watch something scary because Halloween was coming up at the time. And I thought it was good. Be like telling everyone to watch it, but I saw Poltergeist. I saw the original Poltergeist that came out in 1982, Steven Spielberg production. Craig T. Nelson is in it. Remember Craig T. Nelson?
Coach.
That's exactly how I know. Because we watched Coach growing up with Mom, growing up at the house. And it was like the first haunted house movie that became like a blockbuster. It made a shit ton of money.
That's what it is. Poltergeist is basically a ghost.
It's a haunted movie. It's a haunted house movie where these things kind of come through the TV. The most famous scene in it is this like cute little 6-year-old blonde girl looking at a static TV screen, and she looks back at the camera and goes, "They're here." It's like a famous haunted movie. I don't want to go talk about too much into it because I think we spent a lot of time with the earlier stuff that's more worthy of talking about. But I thought it was a great movie. I wanted to cross it off my list. Good haunted house movie. Very Spielberg fielding. Just meaning like you can just tell it's like a Spielberg type movie with how it's filmed and the musical elements and that kind of stuff. So again, I don't want to spend a ton of time on it, but Poltergeist, good original haunted house movie.
One of those movies I've seen the cover of at Home Vision Video or something like that when I was a kid. That image of the girl in front of the TV screen. Just a movie I never watched. When I hear you talk about that, it's like I hope that at some point as the girls get older, we can start picking off some of these classic horror movies around Halloween time. They're way too young for that stuff now. But as they get older, it'd be kind of cool to revisit a movie like that, The Exorcist, or just any of these old 70s, 80s horror movies, even Halloween.
Because just seeing how it held up, you know what I mean? There were some special effects that look a little dated, but like there was a lot of practical effects. I love the practical effect look, and I think, it held up really well. The movie's 41 years old. It was great. It was very, 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 very good movie. So I would give it probably a B minus or so for my rankings. So it's really good.
Love it, dude. All right, you ready for number 4 for me?
What's number 4 for you? I have no idea.
This is a movie. I gave you a hint about it when we were talking Mission Impossible. This is a movie that I've seen before, but we watched it this month with the kids, and I thought it would be fun to talk about because I don't have anything else, and it's Mrs. Doubtfire. The mask technology is not quite as good as Mission Impossible. But Robin Williams does a pretty good job. So, dude, it's tough to get the kids to watch like an older movie. Yeah, it really is. Like, just movies were different back then. Mrs. Doubtfire is a lot different than the stuff that comes out now. But we somehow got them to watch it, and they freaking really liked it. And there was maybe a week or two where we watched it let me just say the kids are usually like getting ready to a movie or right before bed. They're watching a movie to wind down, and we'll put on whatever we've been watching a lot of lately. We've moved on from Mrs. Doubtfire, but the fact that they revisited Mrs. Doubtfire in the mornings or before bed for a week or two is a sign that they liked it. So Mrs. Doubtfire is a freaking classic. Robin Williams is the man. And I just don't make movies like that anymore.
That's what I was going to say, was the girls were introduced to an absolute icon in Robin Williams. Like, Robin Williams at that time was, he was the voice of the genie and all. Patch Adams, which was a huge movie. He was a good old hunting.
You might not remember Mork and Mindy too, but when we were kids, I feel like I'd fall asleep to Nick at Night, and Mork and Mindy was big on Nick at Night. So, dude, he's a freaking legend. And it's honestly, you see a glimpse of it when you might not remember this in the movie, but there's the beginning of the movie, he's doing all these voices, and you just kind of see like how brilliant he is at that stuff. He was always very animated, and the voices he did, it was just incredible.
He was so good. Like, not many people could turn it on like that with the voices and be really over the top and funny. But then also his serious side of like being an actor. Like, I remember like when he lost his kids into custody and had to like at the end when in the restaurant scene when the mask is coming off and he's all embarrassed. Like, he had incredible like serious acting. I mean, what an Academy Award.
Yeah, I mean, Good Will Hunting, was a completely different thing. Like, he could actually act besides being a comedian that was in movies or TV shows.
He was so lovable. So lovable. You know what I mean? He was just a big kid, and I watched that movie 1,000 times growing up.
Yeah.
And, you had the young girl from Matilda who's in there. You got...
Pierce Brosnan was the boyfriend, Sally Field's the wife.
Yeah. It's an unbelievable cast, and it's a great movie. I'm happy that you're doing that, introducing the girls to that stuff, because they're great movies, and I'm glad that it held up.
It took 20 minutes to when it started to be like the first part is just like family drama and custody stuff, and it took 20 minutes before we finally got to Mrs. Doubtfire. But from the time Mrs. Doubtfire is introduced to the end of the movie, is kind of electric. So a couple different things. There's a scene when he's done being Mrs. Doubtfire for the day with his family, and he gets back to his apartment, and the social worker lady is getting there to do a check on him, and then he goes into the house and he has to act like it's his sister or cousin or something like that, and he does the whipped cream on the face, and it was ridiculous. The fact that he fooled that lady is, I mean it's crazy. Like,
love that. That's good. Yeah, she was not good at her job. She was a terrible social worker.
Yeah, I mean, she was tough, but it was just like a pretty funny scene, a little bit of tension of like, how's he going to pull this off? And it was something that made me laugh. I wanted to point out his brother. His brother's name's Harvey Fierstein, I feel like he's like that guy.
He was in Independence Day. His voice.
That's what I was going to ask you. Okay, you knew. Like, that's the reason he's that guy for me, is because he was in Independence Day. I was looking at his filmography, and it was nothing that really struck me. He's had a career, but like Independence Day was the thing that.
He was a huge Broadway guy. I remember like when he was like matchmaker, make me. I remember he was hilarious. And he's like, Williams like, can you make me a woman or whatever? And he's like,
you never asked.
But you never asked. His voice is so unique, like it's so distinctive. Yeah, he's great. I think he's still doing some stuff. He's got some unique voice,
man. I mean, shit, like Sally Fields. I think she was in 80 for Brady, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, Sally Field, 80 for Brady. She was in Winning Time. Still crushing it.
So I only say that because, like, this movie's freaking 30-something years old, probably. Yeah. Like, these people are old. So if that guy's still alive, like, he's probably like an old man. I mean, dude, not to get sidetracked, but like, I think of like the dad from Home Alone. That guy died a few years ago, and I remember seeing a picture of him before he died, and I was like, man, that guy's so old. But then it's like, these movies are all so old, you're looking at all these people on screen, and you think that that's what they look like now, and it's like, you realize they're all freaking 30, 40 years older than what they look like when we see them on TV.
I didn't realize he passed away. That is sad. Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's 1995. This movie came out. I mean, looking at this, Robin Williams has been 9 years. 9 years since he passed away. It's freaking nuts. That was one of those things I remember exactly where I was. Where
were you?
I was walking on N Street in Newburyport, right by the Pines, and I remember on my phone and saying Robin Williams died. And he was just so iconic and full of life. He never, it was incredible. So he was the best. He was the best.
So I thought that would be a fun one to talk about. Good little memories. I try to. I would really want to watch about something new and talk about something new, but it had probably been 20 years since I've seen Mrs. Doubtfire, and it seemed like a fun one to.
I'm glad. That's an awesome idea. Awesome idea to do that. So,
what are you looking forward to this month? Anything like on your radar? Like, is there something like I'm going to watch this in the next few weeks?
I think I'm back on board with Loki. I'm going to start that tonight or this week. I've heard Loki's just incredible stuff. So I think Loki is going to become my next thing I'm going to watch. This one, you're going to laugh at me for this one, but it just came back, Invincible, on Amazon Prime. Again, which is it's a cartoon, adult cartoon type show, all based on superhero type stuff.
Dude. That's just freaking we like. That's cool.
Awesome.
I'll be interested to hear about it. Keep me posted on it. Maybe I tried to jump on board. I just couldn't get into that first one, but you never know what's on my mind while I'm watching some of these things sometimes, and I give it another look, and
And
I could be down to check it out. But I heard good things about that show. You've told
it's
me good
great.
things about it.
And then I don't know. I gotta go see some new movies that might be coming out, on streaming and stuff that I'll be watching. And what about you? Oh, Godzilla starts next week too. So Godzilla on Apple
I'll
TV.
probably move that onto the list. I definitely liked the trailer when I saw that. Loki's probably that thing though for me because I've heard the same things that you probably heard or read. Just like that last few episodes have been really, really good. So I'll look forward to checking that out. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is on Netflix.
That's a good one. It is.
It's on Netflix. Yeah. So I heard good things about it. I like that first one. Might check that out.
The first one.
But yeah, I mean, sometimes I just go to like the Apple rankings of movies and see what's new, and if there's anything that catches my eye, I'll probably grab it, buy it, or rent it. But
are you and Tara watching anything, finishing up right now, or?
Dude, we're so freaking crazy, man. It's weird, like just we haven't been able to get back into something. So maybe Beckham will be it. Maybe it'll be the Bears season 2. Yeah,
I have all over Beckham.
We'll see.
So good, awesome, but that was fun.
Awesome, dude. All right, good month. We dominated. I will look forward to doing it again next month. All right, pal?
All right, pal. Thank you.
All right, see ya.